Hey everyone, welcome to Schmoes of the North Sunday edition. I am Ben, and I think I'm going to be leading you guys for this week. And with me is my friend Ryan. How are you doing today, Ryan?
Doing very good, Ben. Right. I don't know if you can hear anything, but I know I got a little bit of some background noise going on, but it's probably going to fade away soon. But other than that, I've had myself a pretty good weekend, and obviously this week for Schmoedown has been incredible. Honestly, it was amazing. There was like so many good matches, great performances, and a lot of improvement from certain players that a lot to get into, honestly.
Absolutely. So why don't we get things started with the one
Mm-hmm.
from Wednesday from the first room versus the outsiders. What do you think of this one?
That match, there's a lot going in there, honestly. I mean, because judging off both teams from their performance in that mini teams tournament, the outsiders really looked like the heavy favorite because Ben and Paul worked so well together, and they really pushed lightning time to their 5-pointer, and no, of course, and seeing exactly how good Paul is with teams and how Ben was just getting started, it felt like a very great combination. So it really wouldn't have surprised me if the outsiders came out of this match the victor. But at the same time, I wasn't not going to underestimate press room. I mean, Josh Horowitz has shown, even after his first match in teams, he did very good in his 2 singles matches against Paul Walterhauser and against Ty Lieberman. So he definitely is showing himself strong in the movie knowledge. And with Perry, it's look, Perry. I know that she's very good. She's always able to bounce back, regardless on how her round, regardless how her first round performance goes. She's able to bounce back later on, and we definitely got to see a little bit of that Perry in this Wednesday's match. But even then, she and Josh showed that their years of knowing each other, working together, are definitely pays off. Just like with Liz and Ethan, how their relationship actually pays off when it benefits them in this team's match.
Exactly. And don't forget, Perry last year did me Mike in the match. And
Yeah.
and did really well against Riley. Really well against Riley.
And not to forget, the Witching Power against the Misfits. That was a match where they really came back from a big, huge deficit. Deficit. Like it was 7-8 points. Like they had that Robert Redford category, and Haley and Perry were struggling with it, but they were able to get all 3 of their round 3 questions, while the Misfits weren't able to get any of theirs. In a miraculous comeback. And yeah, they lost to Founding Fathers later, but even then, Perry does show that when she's with a good team partner, someone she can bounce off of, that energy and knowledge can really get them through the match, and it showed right here with her and Josh, especially out of that first round.
Well, let's get into that first round. And like you said, most teams did really well. Well, round 1 ended with Freshmen having 15 and Outsiders having 14. What are your thoughts on this round 1?
Well, this definitely ties back into my previous assessment of Perry and how in this round she was a little bit behind at first, because it was a really good start, both teams staying tied, but then after that Beetlejuice question, it really it was obvious it got to Perry because of course her being a big horror fan, and she is a big Tim Burton fan at least a big fan of that film, and so and it did affect her and moving forward, but still it didn't really take that much away from them. It was just more of like every other question, Outsiders was gaining a lead, gaining a lead, and gaining a lead. And Josh just kept on. He just, no matter what happened, question came, answered it, presented. He and Ben came very close to that perfect round, but it was that Roland Emmerich question that really threw Ben off, especially when you listed the films down there. It was Stargate, Jesus Christ, I know Independence Day Resurgence. I'm forgetting the third film, but it was kind of it was a little. I think it was a little funny how Ben didn't think it was Roland Emmerich, especially when you said Independence Day Resurgence. I mean, it's not a secret that most films that have sequels, the same director doesn't stay on. But because his Independence Day and the first movie was co-written by Roland Emmerich, helped pen the script, so it did make. I mean, logically, when you're doing an educated guess, it made sense to just write them down. But then, of
Yeah.
course, with Stargate and I'm forgetting that third film, but it didn't matter then. Those were good movies to throw them off.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would all like to forget about Independence Day Resurgence, but
There's a
we,
minority out there that loves the film, but the majority of us, yeah, we'd want to believe it didn't exist.
yeah, maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And like I said,
Yeah.
first group got 13, outsiders got 14. Now headed into round two. First group got what did they get?
They choice and they chose new releases for their round two.
Right. First group got new releases, and outsiders got Tom Hanks.
Yeah, and it was because they were going to spin away from Tom Hanks, but Kate coached him into taking the slice.
Right.
And it did, and it was kind of a smart choice too, because Paul did say during his discussion with Ben, he has seen a lot of Tom Hanks films, while Ben, on the other hand, he was kind of 50-50 with it. And it really was kind of it was Preston's round there. Even though they checked the multiple choice twice, still it was good strategy between the two of them. If Paul knew it, he shot for it, Ben supported. And when they went to multiple choice, especially for the Apollo 13 question, it was a smart choice for Ben to say multiple choice as well, because Paul would have stuck with the first name that came to his head, which was Eileen. But it was a good thing they didn't, because of, I mean, maybe the press would have gotten it if it was a 2-point steal or a 1-point steal. But even then, Ben did show that he wasn't slouching. He was just picking himself back up, supporting Paul as what a good teammate would do.
I really like them as a team. They really complement each other and they fill in each other's gaps.
They do. Part of me part of me kind of wanted to continue seeing Rachel and Ben as a team, because they were like really they were like the one team that was keeping the Den in the standings. But I do understand that she wants, because Paul and Ben do, like what you said, from what we've seen in these two matches, they do work well together.
Do you see a title match? Or do you see a path to the title in the future?
It is a tough question. I mean, obviously, yes, I do. But with the number of teams that we had from that tournament, with the heavies obviously being Corruption, Shazam, Rushmore, Danger Zone, and Lightning Time, it is going to be where outsiders really have to be almost nearly perfect every game in order to at least get a leg up on some of these teams. Especially when we saw in the pay-per-view, Lightning Time was able to stay on top because they were playing near perfect against Rushmore, while Rushmore fell off a little bit. Like, it's just one of those matches where you need to always be on top. Don't let missing the question get to you.
Right. And like you said, the person had new releases, which is very smart for them, because that's basically their job in press. New covers, new movies, and it worked wonderfully for them.
Yeah, and Perry has said that new releases is her strength. I mean, she's done 2 exhibition matches of new releases, and I guess the thing was, like a good team partner, she wanted to make sure if Josh was okay with it. And then, of course, with Coy coming in as a good manager, telling them, look, you two are very, he believed those two would nail that slice. And they did, having that 3-point lead at the end of round 2. They only checked down the multiple choice maybe once, but other than that, they were able to they dominate that slice.
And let's get into it. Round 3. What did you think of this round overall?
Well, that round 3, man, that was unfortunately just bad luck. Preston missing that 2-pointer. Ben, of course, getting the I forgot. Did he get the 3? No, he got the 3, and then getting that 5-pointer to keep them in the match. But yeah, Paul just with that that Donnie Darko question. It was just kind of, you really have to have watched the film to know what they were talking about. And I'm surprised it was like there for a 2-point question, but at the same time, the more team matches, the more singles matches we're getting, they are starting to not stretch themselves out, but they are getting back into that well of a mixture of those deep cut questions, especially what you need for round 3 to be challenging. Now, Perry, I was amazed how she was able to get her 2-pointer, especially when it was Tom Hanks. But luckily, it was a Saving Mr. Banks question, which popped up again, which did pop up previously in round 2 again for the Outsiders. So it definitely saved. It was definitely helpful for Perry. Like, Perry wasn't getting the, like, time back to round 1 when they got that Wild Wild West question. Of course, Perry did that joke, was this is my kind of Western. This is kind of my Westerns answer, because it falls into where she can at least touch on Westerns, and the same with Saving Mr. Banks, where she can touch on maybe biopics to where they're not as deep cut or kind of as critically acclaimed, or that someone like Roca or Merle or Riley would get. Honestly, it was something to where it's still new, but new-ish, to where Perry can easily nail that category down.
Right. And there's Josh get his 3-point. I mean, he must.
Oh yeah,
right?
the 3. Yeah. He got the 3-point for the win.
Yeah. So that was a great match by them. And where do you see the press room going next?
Well, for the press room, I have a feeling, because now they're of course they're 500. They're probably Christian's most likely gonna have them go up against their 500 team, or maybe have them play a team that's 1-0. It's difficult to find one because that team's tournament kind of knocked it out. But I don't know. See them mainly going down, waiting to play another team that gets 1-1 again. Like the other teams I saw from that mini tournament that was 1-1 was Blackjack and midterms. But depending on what the situation is with yeah, he is yeah, that's right. And the person that, and especially when we're going to talk later with Zipper's also having himself a bit of a slump, but we will get to him later. But yeah, Goddard, after pretty much, yeah, after I think with the I think the last recent win he had was last year with it was with Rachel, when they were the Pride, before they had lost against Final Exam. They at least had their most recent win was against oh no, wait, they beat their, you know what? I'm not going to get that far back, but Leo is bringing up some good strong stats, and Paul, he has been up and down a little bit. Like, we were hoping this season he'd get back. He was proving that he is getting back up and running. It's just like with every round 3, the questions are just not helping him. They're just not on his side.
Now let me ask you, we're fans of Ben. Do you think he should go to the FCL, maybe fine-tune a bit?
At this point, the FCL is its own thing. Personally, for me, I don't see any competitor going down there unless they want to. If Ben doesn't get picked up by a faction next year, then I could see him wanting to go to the FCL to get a couple of licks in. But at this point, he is already in a bit. Yeah, he's already like a veteran in a young veteran in the Schmoedown right now, to where I wouldn't see anyone wanting to overlook him, especially the performance he's done in teams. Sure, his record, yeah, he's 0-6 so far for the matches he's played. But with teams, you look at his performances, he's someone you don't want to ignore.
Okay, yeah, that's good. And let's go on to today's match. We have Brother Loomis versus Beth May. What do you think of this match overall, real quick?
I really, 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 really wanted Beth to beat Lomas. It's just like what's so far with and I'm doing air quotes again, the mystique with Lomas is that he's the preacher. He does these bashful sermons where my people of Schmoeville, You will understand that one day will come when the fires of hell will rain down upon you for the blasphemous words you have said of Brother Gucci and those of the exchange. Every time I hear him say this stuff or he types in these Facebook groups, I go, can someone please shut his congregation down? I'm sick and tired of it. I mean, more like in a character sense. He's that kind of character that makes me go, someone please just beat him so he doesn't have to keep preaching anymore. And I loved Beth's attitude from her last match against Jessica. She was like, yeah, I lost, but that doesn't mean I'm out. She's going to come back, train harder. And unfortunately, I have to say, this was just not her day, unfortunately. Brother Lomas, on the other hand, his whatever work he's doing with the exchange is really helping him to where you saw in this round one match, he went almost perfect, just missing the last question. Although with a 3-point differential between him and Beth and 7-4, it was still good enough for Beth to come back. But then, damn, that round two, he gets Robert Redford, and I'm going, okay, Gucci's advising him to stay with it, and I'm like, I'm crossing my fingers. Let this backfire. Let Beth get some steals, or at least let him not get any points or go to multiple choice 4 times. But nope, he does a clean sweep, getting every question correct, extending that lead to 15. And then when Beth goes, I'm just, let's get her something that's her strength too. And well, she doesn't get opponent's choice. I forgot what she got, but
she got thrillers.
Thrillers, yeah. That was the first spin. I wish she would have spun again, though, because it was a broad category. And maybe, just maybe, if she... I mean, look, Coy, like every good manager, wanted to put confidence into his competitor. He wanted to make Beth feel as if you can definitely nail Thrillers down. And even Beth did have the confidence to believe, yeah, I can take on this category, and even liked how she did that nice little pun on Thriller itself with Michael Jackson, the Thriller. But when we got into it, missing Lomas getting 2 steals off of her, 2-point steals off of her, and Beth just had to be within. No, he got 3 points. He got 3 points total because it was 18, and then she just had to get within to where it wasn't. No, wait, I'm off on my score count. That's right, Leo. Yeah, Beth narrowly got out of round 2 from those Thrillers. I mean, Lomas was a 10-point lead at the end, obviously. No, 9 points. It was a 9-point lead.
9 point.
Yeah. Look, at this point, if I don't have a snapshot of the numbers, then then it's not playing in my head.
Yeah.
But even then, yeah, a 9-point lead, and all Beth had to do was just get everything, but misses that 2-pointer for Lomas to get that TKO, and I was crushed.
I mean, what would have happened if she spun again away from Thrillers?
That's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
I want to believe that if she spun again, she would have landed something on that wheel that would have benefited her. Maybe if she got spinner's choice, it would have made the choice that much easier, to where Beth could have gotten maybe once again within a 3-point range, and we would have seen her last a little more in round 3. I don't know what her main strength is. I can't really guess or theorize or throw out a hypothesis of what her best strength is for round 2. I just hoped that she. I was putting all of my weight, all of my chips behind Beth to go through this.
Well, maybe Coy could use some training with her. Maybe she could build up some confidence. I mean,
to draw back to Sabrina's match against Klee, Sabrina said that whenever they did mock matches, she was always winning. I'm guessing maybe that could have been the same with Beth as well. But just like with every match, it just didn't work out for her. And I can't remember. Maybe I saw similar comments in Beth's match to where I saw with Sabrina, where they're like, "Oh, let her go down to the FCL, let her go down to the families, and let her get better." These comments need to stop, honestly, because it's kind of disrespecting. In my mind, in my opinion, it's kind of just disrespecting the players a little bit. I mean, everyone can have a bad game, honestly. Anyone can lose one match. But I get where someone's coming from, to where they want to see them get better. there's a difference between meeting with your faction, meeting with your manager every day, working on a certain category and getting better at it. But then by the time the match comes, it can be a completely different hand all in general. It's just at this point with Schmoedown this community becoming more invested in it with these constant after shows, especially when Frank and Brad keep doing their rundowns, doing these technical breakdowns, and this becoming a little more sports iterated. We have to accept and understand that not every player is always going to be coming out batting or playing at their highest level. Sometimes they're going to come in. If I would do baseball terms, they instead of batting at 1,000, they come in maybe batting at a 600 or maybe a 750, and sometimes they'll be at a 180 or they're going to be at a 345. We're never going to know exactly where their top game is going to be.
Yeah.
But every time you suggest they should go down to another league to get better, in a way, you're kind of dragging them down a little bit. That's just my opinion, though.
Hey, Taco.
What's up, Taco? How you doing? Yeah, that's right. Or someone gets knocked out, or like what the Finstock is doing, TKOing people. They're like, oh, let them go to the FCL. And look, FCL's already got a bunch of people who I thought should have been here already. But I mean, it's just how the way these goes. These managers feel they can get the best players and they pick the best personalities that fits their faction. FCL, look, we're already seeing in the FCL, there's so many good people down there, and some have already been brought here I've already been drafted. Like we just had so far, Nick Harley's been drafted to the Stars, Ross from Nowhere's been drafted to the Den, Gerald Battaglia has been drafted to the Dungeon. So we are seeing FCL players come up to the Schmoedown. Would I have loved to have seen Late to the Party be brought up here or the Sin of Fanatics brought up here? Yes. But they're in the FCL, they're doing their own thing right now. And until possibly by the end, let's have the FCL keep continuing. We may see more and more shining stars to where next year we may see an exchange of talent to where some may play in the FCL, some will be playing in the Schmoedown. At this point, I don't see FCL or the Schmoedown as like a major and minor league. They're kind of interchangeable at this point. It's like going from, let's say, community college to a trade school. They're not different from each other, only in title. You can still learn the same amount of skills and lessons and take the number of classes you can get. It's just for a trade school, you're learning on-hand experience, but in a community college or an actual university college, you're mainly learning knowledge. So it's just more in that situation. We'll wait and see. I know Beth, depending on whenever she gets another match down the road, either she plays in the teams or she's going to play another singles match. She's going to show a different tune.
I wonder, do you think Beth and Sabrina would make a good team?
I mean, from our previous episode, from our old episode when we talked about Perry, we loved the idea of Perry and Beth, but maybe with Sabrina and Beth, I mean, I don't know when we're going to get in our team's tournament, honestly. I mean, so far.
Yeah.
But, even then, if Christian wants to just do some singles matches, some regular teams matches, I'm all for it. I mean, we've just saw on the Schmoedown website and through Twitter, they are going to be recording episodes. They're going to be recording live studio episodes on the 1st and 14th of August. So Christian's already back on the grind, getting to recording studio matches again. So it would not surprise me if we see a team's match already recorded in the books.
I'm thinking now that we're getting studio matches, I'm thinking Christian is going to get a lot of team matches going up because he made it no secret. He doesn't like digital routine.
No secret.
So I think now that we're getting a studio for matches, I do think we're going to get more and more teams.
Well, I mean, last season before everything went down, the majority of matches we saw from season 7 in studio was teams matches.
Right.
And I would not be surprised Spectacular is going to be the first pay-per-view. I mean, for all Spectacular's coming, I will not be surprised maybe sometime within August or November. He plans another live studio, another live pay-per-view at a city to where we're going to get teams matches as a double main event. just like what we did with this past pay-per-view.
We'll see. Let's move on to the
last match.
the last match of the week. Shayna Palama with Zipper.
Zipper, yeah.
What did you think of this one?
There was a lot going in because these were honestly the more evenly matched opponents of this week. Now, I'm not saying that Beth and Lomas weren't evenly matched, but from Lomas' performance in his first match and Beth's performance in her first match, it was clear it was all going to play out on how the rounds were going to treat each of the players. And with the outsiders and with Press Room, it was all about that first impression. But with Zipper and Parama, we have seen last year that in Season 7, they've had wins and losses apiece, either it be in teams, singles, and of course, with Zipper and Inner Geekdom. And Zipper, just like with Ben Goddard, he's had a bit of a downward slope when it comes so far with because his most recent win was against Paul Preston last year, but then after that, he's been nothing on loss.
But I wouldn't say his record isn't reflecting that because he is showing he's getting better retaining and doing these matches. He's getting better at it.
Completely agree, yeah. And I'm mainly just saying, I just wanted to tie back to Leo's previous comments when it came with Ben and Paul. Like Paul's record really doesn't reflect his status as a player either. It was just when you were looking at his recent matches, like tying back to it, yeah, it doesn't look good on him to where it all takes is one match to turn things around. And I was seeing, with Jader, his recent match against Janine went down to that 5-pointer to where he missed it. And with Zipper, his match against Brandon Hanna, when he geeked him, it went to sudden death. And then, of course, his match with Jonathan Harris with the midterms, where he was getting the feel back on again. So far this season, he's been off to a bit of a slow start. But even then, that first round between those two of them, Zipper really shows that, yeah, you're right, Ben. That record does not reflect him. He goes perfect in round one, only missing that bonus question. But even then, his first perfect round, him being very glad about that. I was glad about that too. And the camaraderie and respect between him and Jader was right there. These two were not playing as if they have chips on their shoulders. They're just playing because they want to play. And they weren't going to drag each other down from that. Like if one of them got an answer right, they're like, oh, good job, man. I got that same answer too. And then we start seeing that later on. Like it was that same energy was carrying into that second round. But the difference in that second round, we saw Jader. We saw exactly the certain slices, how they were benefiting each other. Jader, he gets crap. I'm shorting out here. He got courtroom dramas.
Yeah. And Zipper got action adventure.
Yeah, and I'll say with Jader's slice of courtroom dramas was very interesting because it's a very rarely used slice. So normally, if someone who's not as familiar with the Schmoedown or not as, let's say, knowledge heavy with trivia matches, they would have spun away from that because of that too. It's kind of a broad category because there's a lot of dramas, comedies, films that yeah. Oh God, I was gonna hold off on that, Leo, but you are right. When he got that action adventure, I thought it was gonna benefit him because in his match against Irwin, he got action adventure and he did very well on it. But man, these questions, I have to admit, it was as if maybe it was in the moment his brain was stalling. But yeah, that Tango and Cash question, I'm going, look, but he's got a point. Unless you write down which actor plays who, you can easily mess up the two guys, honestly. Absolutely. But when it said who plays Stallone's character and who plays Stallone's partner in Tango and Cash, it's kind of like you immediately it's no longer 50-50 and it's one choice. But right. I'm not going to put all this on Zipper's knowledge. Maybe he just couldn't pull it.
And some Kurt Russell, right?
It's Kurt Russell, correct? Yeah.
Got that from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Thank you very much. Because I were both in that. Yeah.
That is correct. That is true. That is true. They were both in it.
Yeah. Jader had great round and Courtney Drama. I mean,
Yeah, he
yeah.
swept that round. He swept it. I mean, seriously. You think something like courtroom legal dramas, you think someone like maybe someone like Preston or someone like Drew McWeeny or even Paul Yama and Dan Murrow and Adam Collins or even Marisol herself would nail that slice. But seeing how Jader was able to go 4 for 4, getting 8 points out of that, amazing.
It was
Just
incredible.
showing that he was not afraid of that slice.
Yeah.
And then, of course, yeah, go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and now we're at round 3. What are your thoughts on the final round?
Ooh, just like with round 2, it really looked like it wasn't Zipper's time, unfortunately. There was one comment on that match I saw, it's hurricane season, let's go. That comment on that YouTube page kind of summed up the match. It was hurricane season. I mean, the wind was blowing one way in round 1, but like a tornado, it just came right back around, and it played a lot into Jader's favor. I mean, sure, Jader still got to answer questions, but it wasn't a TK or anything like that. But Eric did not at least go. He went out swinging. That's all I can say of a player.
Let me be fair about this. Zipper only lost by 1.
1 point, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like he crapped the bed. It just it was just Jader's time to win. I mean, they both played really great. And yeah, I mean, I feel bad for Zipper, but I don't think he's done. I think he just needs to keep working on it, and who knows what could happen. But
I think
yeah.
No, I was going to agree with you. I mean, who knows? I think for Zipper right now, he wants to really he just like with so many other people, he wants to play. But if I was going to say something, I think maybe Zipper should possibly bring himself down to maybe playing 2 divisions instead of trying to play 3. I mean, I'm not saying it's not good for him, but I'm just saying, like, if he wants to be a monster in Inner Geekdom, I think he needs to either play in teams, so then he can devote all his time to Inner Geekdom, and then when teams come up, he can be able to still dress up some categories that he's still a little weak in. Sorry, I didn't say weak. I hope no one's saying I hope no one misinterpret that as the weekend. I meant weak in.
I forget. As of right now, is he on our team?
Yeah, midterms with Jonathan Harris.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I were him, I would concentrate on team and in a kickdom right now. Maybe.
No.
Wait.
Because it feels like I'm not going to say smart choice, but it feels like it would benefit him more because Rachel Cushing, who I say is one of the best players of all time, during her season 6 before she decided to leave, when she decided to, after her championship match against Sam Levine, she took a step back from singles and focused on teams in Inner Geekdom, and look how that benefited her. She became a Inner Geekdom champion and a team's champion, double belted. And you saw how it helped her out. As a great example, even with Mike Kalinowski, when after he missed his opportunity in singles, sure, he played last year in the singles tournament, but what does he mainly focus on? Teams and Inner Geekdom, and you see exactly how that benefited him as well. If Eric wants to break that mold, go for it, man. 100%. Take the helmet off, dive headfirst into this with no regrets. But if you want to get yourself to that level, sometimes you may just need to step back a little bit. Sharpen your focus on Inner Geekdom. Best proverb I love is, don't fear the man who knows 10,000 kicks. Fear the man who can do 10,000, who can do one kick 10,000 times. Sorry, I messed that up. But it's mainly saying, don't stretch yourself out to learn everything. Be good at one thing, and then move on from the next.
Yeah, hold on. I agree with you. I mean, some team players can do 3 divisions at once. You have to have something special, I think. And
I think it's mostly like how comfortable you are, honestly, with it. How comfortable you can be, because when we have seen with Roca with singles and teams, he is so comfortable and confident in singles that he can prove himself out to do teams. Same with JTE as well. And of course, when Rachel decided to when she decided to do Inner Geekdom when she was mainly debuted in teams, we did see how she went from Nerds Watch to the Shire Wolves. And I'll even say the same thing with Mike Kalinowski. When he started off earlier on, he was doing singles, teams, Inner Geekdom. And then after when Corruption was rising, he refocused himself on the Inner Geekdom alone. Then it slowly began into teams. And then we saw him go back into singles.
Right. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where Zipper goes from here. And where all these players go from here.
Sky is literally the limit for Zipper. The sky is the limit for him. We're not saying the glass is half empty, but it's half full.
Do you think he's on the right faction under Winston right now?
I really think he is with the right faction under Winston, because like he said in his promos, he doesn't have to worry about trash talking, trying to, think of some zingers or some burns to go up his opponent. That's what Winston's going to do. So he can focus on that studying. I mean, we've talked about this so many times on our show with Mount Schmoedown. The best managers are there to take the focus, the heat, the attention, so the players can mainly focus on studying and nailing down that knowledge and trivia. And I think with him on Swag and the fact that he and Winston are good friends, Winston knows exactly what categories or what to do in order to punch up Zipper's knowledge. And I won't say that when he was a part of the dungeon, I think it was the same thing. Kaiser did a lot of that trash talk too. But I think because Kaiser was so good, it felt as if Zipper needed to step up himself and be on that same level of trash talking, but he didn't really have to. Just like with Smets in the beginning, Smets didn't have to trash talk. That's what Kaiser was there for.
Right. I mean, that's all the matches from last week. You want to quickly go over the ones for next week and see?
Yeah, we got plenty of time here. We can give our quick opinions, impressions of what next week's going to be.
Okay, I have the matches right here.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, we have Claudia No from Corruption versus Christy V from the Snows. What do you think about that?
I'm going Christy all the way. Christina, without a doubt in my mind. She is such a wonderful person. I loved talking with her before she got called up. And that match against Rager, it was nothing. She got opponent's choice, so there was nothing much she could do about it. But even then, her knowledge is there. And you want to talk about someone who knows how to cut killer promos. That's Christina is someone who can cut killer promos. But Claudia, at the same time, her first match against Barbarian wasn't a reflection of her knowledge as well. So this is going to be kind of like a breakout for both Claudia and Christina.
Well, that's what to be honest here. It says Claudia versus Christy, but let's be honest, it's really Shannon versus Roxy.
Yeah, but I know Christy has a sharp tongue, so it's gonna be kind of like a 2-on-1 with Shannon versus Christy and Roxy. But if Claudia herself can lay in some haymakers herself, this is gonna be the most entertaining match I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to it. And on Tuesday we have Jesse Swift.
Yep.
From the Cookie Mirrors versus Jacob.
Would have been.
From Usual Suspect. What do you think about this one?
This is going to be very interesting. This is Jesse once again going up against an IG player from the Suspects. So he's definitely going to be looking to get some revenge on the Suspects from his loss to Amaru. And Jacob clearly wants to redeem himself after that TKO loss to Moose. So, but I have to say the odds, I'm going to go with Jesse on this one because Jesse's passionate. And I'm not saying Jacob's not as passionate either, but Jesse has been Christian and so many others have said the story of how Jesse had been relentless of wanting to be a part of the Schmoedown. And I don't think he's let up on that relentlessness to where it's not going to change a thing with his inner geekdom knowledge. I mean, so far what we've seen with IG, these new categories of dystopian time travel, swashbuckling adventure, mixed bag, fantasy, sci-fi, and animated have become big trump cards. Like, these are categories you may not want to get while in round 2 or in your round 3s. And so far, with merging MCU and Marvel and DCU and DC together, that also, once again, it brings back the broadness of Marvel and DC now, to where you can no longer just focus on a niche category that Marvel or MCU was now. You spin Marvel, you might get a mixture of Marvel and MCU, same with DC and DCEU. And now that you can do certain franchises separate, like Inner Geekdom really is become its own beast again. So it's just going to be interesting to see how Jacob and Jesse can navigate that. I want to see a good match between both of these two men, but I'm still going to give this slight edge to Jesse because of how close he was to being Amaru last time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I echo everything you said. It's going to be one hell of a match. Indian Kingdom is a strength of Corey's, not so much Sam's, but you're managing, so that really doesn't make that big of a difference. But I still think it makes a small difference. So it's going to be interesting. And then,
I think with Sam's managing, it doesn't matter if he's familiar with a certain category or a certain division or not. He's always going to come in there with that same energy and that same sharp wit he always does. If he feels that something's off, do not doubt for 1 second he is going to challenge it. That's one thing I will say about Sam.
He goes into a match ready to say that challenge. He goes in ready to use it.
He and Coy have great back and forth together. They have that mutual respect to where it's not where Shannon jumps into a room and you're like, oh my God, it's the evil queen from Snow White. We must take her down. It's just more kind of like with Coy, he is more of he's kind of like a mixture of bashful and happy of the dwarves, to where you want to be in a room with this guy. And Sam, he is a mixture of Grumpy and Doc, where he's only grumpy because he looks like it because of that beard, but honestly, he has the smarts to where this guy will trip you up if you don't come to play.
I like that comparison. Yeah. And then on Friday is a great match. We have Paige from the Suspects. Who's Rachel Silverstreet from the 10. This is a great match.
This fucking hurts. This hurts so bad. I mean, we've talked with Paige, we've had her on the show. She is such a wonderful person to talk Schmoedown, and I've even talked movies with her. She is so good. I'm rooting for her. But at the same time, I am desperately rooting for Rachel to finally get herself a win in singles, to prove that she can't just get wins in teams. She can get wins in singles, and I want her luck to turn around so badly. If Christian had just picked anybody else for Paige and Rachel to go up against, I'd be voting for both of these two women every day of the week. But because Christian, as the Dark Lord, the Sith Lord that he is, decides to play with our emotions and put Rachel and Paige up against each other, God damn it, Christian. You may not want digital matches anymore, but I kind of want you to keep. But as someone who wants, because you're giving me pain, I want to give you more pain by saying keep going with the digital matches, because you decided to put Rachel and Paige against each other.
Wow. Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is a painful match.
Yeah, but at the same time, the back and forth between Sam and Kate is going to be funny as well.
Oh hell yes! And the back and forth between Paige and Rachel, that's going to be classic.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Just like what we're gonna get with Roxy and Shannon, with Christina and Claudia, we're gonna get that same thing here between Paige and Rachel.
What does Leo have to say?
Yeah, what you got, Leo? Oh, that's right. That's right. It was on the. That's right. Then maybe hold on, pull up that schedule because I do remember originally on that week it was meant to be a Star Wars match between the stars, but then Roxy had to drop Jeff Lowe and Ken Jack to where she got Jericho back. So possibly it's still an open determined. It's undetermined.
Yeah, maybe.
But even then, still, even if it was not this week, I'm still hurt because of the fact that it's Rachel versus Paige.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I thought it was Friday, but no.
It's 21st, a Wednesday.
Yeah. But it's here. So, yeah, there's no match on Friday?
I'm pretty sure Christian is going to announce that there's going to be a match because so far we've had the throwdown, then we're going to have verses coming up, and then, or maybe there is going to be no pay-per-view this week.
No, I'm not even talking about pay-per-view.
No, I know what you mean. Friday the 16th. The 16th, yeah. It's empty.
No,
I know what you mean. It's completely empty. I'm just saying that possibly Christian is going to announce a match. Maybe it's going to be a singles. Maybe it will be a Star Wars or a teams match on the 16th, and possibly we'll get to see something moving forward. If not, just those two matches between Claudia and Christina. I can't call her Christy, no matter what her nickname she wants it to be. I love her. I love her name, Christina. And then of course between Jesse and Jacob, those are still going to be two very great matches. I can't wait to see.
Yeah, there has to be a third match somewhere, but those two matches are pretty good.
Yeah.
Out of them, I'm looking forward to the Claudia versus Christy a little bit more, only because with the managers, that's going to be more entertaining, in my opinion. So, yeah, I guess we'll see, but yeah, I wish that Paige and Bishop match was on Friday. That feels like a Friday match, doesn't it?
It does. But if it's on Wednesday and as a patron of Schmoes, I'm definitely gonna look forward to it when it's released on Monday. But
me too.
That is a Friday match. That kind of feels like a big fight Friday match, honestly.
I meant you call up moves to Friday. I meant you call up moves. If there was nothing there this week, I meant you would go on Friday. Well, that's just my guess. I have no.
I mean, I would take you on your word too. Like, I know Harloff, he's scrambling a lot. I mean, with the collision coming up, with the Scum and Villainy with the tapings over there happening, I'm pretty sure Harloff will find something or find somebody who can jump in a pinch, who can join in a pinch. I mean, with the FCL call-ups that happened, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets Nick Harley and Joe Pertalia to play each other in a match.
Right. I mean, or maybe somebody's going to go for the FCL belt and play Flout.
As long as the Flirt and Flouse doesn't show up on a Schmoedown broadcast, I'll be completely happy.
Oh, not a fan, huh? Not a fan?
I was good with the Flirt and Flouse when it was an SEN bit. Okay. But then when it crossed over into Schmoedown, I'm going, what? And then now he's in FCL. Okay, fine, big personality. And then after the whole Harley giving the belt to him, as someone who has a buddy who knows two people in the FCL, I'm like, every wrestling fan, this is bullshit. But honestly, if it makes the other players going for that belt more hungry, strategic wise, I give Christian all the props. But as a fan, I'm like, you better hope the Flirt House doesn't get knocked out. Otherwise, that's gonna be huge egg on your face.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just wondering what's the end game with him, but I guess we'll find out.
Well, Brett is very knowledgeable in movies. I'm not taking that aside. I'm not taking that side with him.
I know you're not.
I'm just going in the character aspects of this whole thing. I'm playing I'm playing with the kayfabe aspect. Aspects.
Me too. So I think that was good. I mean, yeah. If you guys want to see the Schmoes of the North's reaction to the pay-per-view. Check out the episode from Friday night, but yeah, that's all feelings about the week. So, Ryan, where can everyone find you?
Well, you guys can definitely find me here, Schmoes the North Channel, along with Ben, with our show Mount Schmoedown, along with our third co-host John DeGreggio. Yesterday, you guys can check out our episode on Saturday when we had Taco, fellow Schmoes of the North, with us as we continued our factions month discussion as we talked about the dungeon. And you know what? Since we are talking about factions, we don't have to worry about waiting until to reveal it. This upcoming Saturday on the 17th, we are going to be talking about the Finstock Exchange. It's going to be me, Ben, and John with us, and hopefully we might get a special guest to join us. If not, it'll just be the three of us to discuss the Finstock Exchange comparing how it was from 7 and 8 and talking about the players that was able to shine from that faction, and also, of course, the mysterious genius that is Gucci.
Yeah, hi, Taco.
That's like an I am Groot situation.
Yeah,
I am Taco.
Yeah. I am Ben Winter. You guys can find me on at my Twitter at Ben_Radio on this channel, like Ryan said, every Saturday on Mount Schmoedown, every Thursday on Shooting the Breeze, every Friday on Recapping the Past, and every Saturday in the morning on Get Ready. And you can find me all over the space. And that will do it for us from the Sunday Crew. We'll see you next week. Have a good one and smash cancer.